Oh yeah, baby. Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong. Welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. We're going to be building another mystery kit today. This kit's based on LM358, or at least that's what it says on here. Don't really know what it is or what it does, but hopefully we're going to find out. Feeling a little bit poorly today, so I thought I'd cheer myself up by constructing one of these. I'm hoping that the fumes and stresses of trying to debug a mystery kit won't put me over the edge, but let's battle onwards. So, according to the instructions, no idea what this is. An LM358, that is all we know that it has. And I'm just looking here. There's two LM358s according to this, but I think they're the I think it might be a dual package because it's just different pinned on the same thing. I'll zoom in a little bit. You can have a look at the circuit right there. Looks to me like something that's flashing some LEDs, but they're also in parallel here, so I'm not quite sure what it's supposed to do. I mean, it could be a circuit again just to flash the LEDs, but why so elaborate? So we're just going to have to discover ourselves why that's the case. So you've got this little ticket, little stub there. PCB. LEDs, everything ready to go. So we're just going to start with the basic stuff, shall we? You know I always like to put the chip carrier in. It tends to be the simplest thing to do. Let's clean our soldering iron. Soldering iron's set to 399 today, so it's a little bit cool. I'm going to see what it's like when they're running a little bit cooler than usual. Hopefully less fumes. Less corrosion on the tip, less oxidization. I once left a soldering iron on for ages, it must have been on for days, and the tip had just evaporated. So yeah, that's an interesting thing to find. So here we go, a little variable resistor here. Don't know if you've seen one of these before. I'm sure you've probably caught glimpses of them if you've ever taken any devices apart, but you can just adjust them with a little screwdriver like that. Let's pop that straight in, that's nice and easy as well. Although, I almost shoved it in the wrong hole. It's a very interesting sort of footprint there, this 0850, which I'm guessing is for this transistor. One, two, and a three. Nicely done. So we have an electrolytic here, 15k resistor. I'm going to save the resistors to the end. They're my least favourite thing to do because I have great difficulty reading them. Pop that in. Great difficulty owing to my sort of laziness, not because they're particularly difficult. This is the S8050 component. Don't think you can see that on the camera, but I can just about see it there. So that will marry up nicely with that footprint. I'm just going to, which way round will it go? This way. I'm just making sure that I'm bending the leg the right way around so I don't put it in backwards. So some of these kits can be quite elaborate just because they're trying to demonstrate the use of certain components. So if I was going to make a flasher circuit, for example, you know I'm into these booby boards that I sort of designed, and they're microcontroller boards, so I would just program them literally in to flash the LEDs, and a lot of you would think that's probably a crazy way of going about it, but it's not really if you consider you're investing in a sort of set of skills and a tool chain to do it. It becomes very quick if you're used to sort of programming things, being able to say, you know, literally a for loop, please flash this port, is a sort of second nature to you. Whereas if you're into analog electronics like these, crunch, 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 yeah, you'd think it's bizarre you'd use anything else. Just looking, let's put this pin header on. It's got a plus and minus on it, so I don't know which way around plus is, and there's a wire with a red band. We'll say the red band is plus. If that's the case, then the pin header has to go in that way, with the keyway pointing to the edge of the PCB. There you go, and you can see the keyway right there. So if you're doing it with analog, I guess you're using 555 timers, and 555 timer is almost getting into the sort of domain of proper electronics. But you can certainly use, things with transistors and capacitors. Right, let's get this diode in. I do like these big old diodes, these common diodes. Easy to use, easy to put in. They get the job done. Playing along at home, do you have a favourite type of component to work with? So 147, 147, 15. So we have a selection. You can see the selection of LEDs. Phew, I thought I just lost an LED there. Of course, when I was saying 47k and 100k, I wasn't referring to the LEDs actually, I was referring to the resistors. So let's see if we can figure out the value of some of these resistors. And I'm using my meter, and it's on the ohms scale. So we've got this random one on its own. Let's have a look. Random one on your own, what do you reveal? 97k, so that would be 100k. And I do believe these have the same colouring. I'm testing it just off camera, I'm aware. It's actually a 15k, so those are 15k. So let's pop our 100k in while we know it's 100k, and we've got those two 15ks I've just buzzed out. We'll drop those in there, respective holes. So 100k, let's see if we can actually figure this out. It's it looks like brown, black, black, orange, and then brown. So I don't know which end you've got to read that from. Any of you guys at home still using through hole for anything? Got any tips, any mnemonics for reading these off, or do you just have a chart on the wall or something? I'm pretty sure that people very familiar with these must be reading them off like second nature. Otherwise it must take ages to build things. Although I have to admit, when I was using through-hole components, I'd keep them in the bags, and the bags of course just said what the value was, so I'd never really actually had to read a value resistor. Surface mount components of course actually have the number, well generally have the number written on them. So I just confused my camera there. Just out of the corner of my eye I noticed the screen went a bit blurry. Trying a new focus method today. You can see I've been experimenting with different properties of focusing with these cameras over the last few weeks. I have to say it's quite tricky really. It's a trickier job if you can imagine the camera's perspective, having to decide what you want to focus on. So don't be too harsh on the poor old beast. That's why of course in the trade you've got a focus puller, which is a separate guy whose job it is purely to operate focus. So the camera guy is pointing the camera at the subject, and then the focus puller is working out all of those interesting focal depths to achieve all those aims of the director. So suddenly you'll get something in the foreground that goes blurry, and then you'll see someone in the background. 100k. Sorry, that was 100 ohms, was it? 100 ohms is. And let's try these ones. 50 kilo ohms. Wow, 47. So we got 3 of those. Let's drop those in the appropriate holes. Just going to check this R5 here is supposed to be 100 ohms. And we've got 100k, so there we go, that resistor should be there. A rare treat now to actually extracting a resistor. Okay, so I've got the And there we go, easy as that. So, but you've got these holes left over now. You've got choice now. If you've got the resistor holes, and you can see they're plugged up now, the through holes, you can try using some solder braid, which I'm going to try right now, or a solder sucker. And if you've got a kit, someone's probably bought you a kit for Christmas for soldering, it'll have a solder sucker. You can use that as well. But the braid works pretty good. Look, there you go. A lot less. It's a lot less impressive than using a solder sucker. So we're just poking the 100k when it's rightful 100k hole. Come on, boy. Problem is now the legs actually have a bit of solder on them, so they're not going to be so compliant. And that's it. Unfortunately, now I've got to do a bit of contortion with holding that component in with sugar with my finger. That wasn't heat, by the way. It's because the tip of my thumb was actually pushing on the end of a pin of something else, and I kind of poked myself, which sort of sent a electric shock style vibe up my arm. Doesn't matter. We're done now. Right, we're nearly there. Let's just get these last 100 ohm resistors in. Pop those LEDs and, oh, exciting. We'll see what happens. It's clearly going to flash, and clearly the rotatey thing adjusts the speed of the flash. That would be my guess. How it does it, how the circuit works, I do not know. I mean, we can have a little guess at how that's working as well, but normally, you know, they're affecting the timing on things. It'll be between the that resistor, that potentiometer, the adjustable resistor, and the electrolytic capacitor. They'll be being used to fiddle with the timing. Right, so just the LEDs now. Let's get them in the wrong way. The wrong way. No, let's not get them in the wrong way. Let's get them in the right way. Just to remind you, LEDs have a long leg and a short leg. The short leg is minus and the long leg is plus. Okay? The short leg is minus, so the long leg is plus. So they have to go in that way. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are those nice crystal white, look at them. Shiny. Crystally. I remember back in the day when you couldn't get all these exotic colours, and white LEDs and the bright green LEDs were all quite fancy. When I say bright green, I mean the literally the bright green, not the old school green LEDs. And white LEDs tended to be just mixtures, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, of whatever is the natural bright colour, like a green LED with a phosphor. But something's changed, because you can see these clear LEDs are proper clear. They're not relying on another colour and converting its wavelength down to something else. Unless, of course, the phosphor layer has got so tiny, it's just embedded in the very sort of tip of that diode junction that's giving off the light, giving off the photons. One more. Hey, we're nearly there, guys. Ow! I can hear these hitting the ceiling. Don't do 2 legs at a time. How many volts are we going to guess it is? We need to study this. We need to study it. 12 volts. See it right here, look, 12 volts. So it'd be suitable for a car. And look, it's got reverse polarity protection. That's what that big ass diode's for. In case you hook it up backwards, it won't blow out all the ICs. So we're going to need some power. I'm going to set my bench power supply to 12, knock it off again. Let's solder it onto the nice little terminals. Some of you are asking me, what do I do with these kits after I make them? I shove them in a bag, mainly. I shove them in a bag, and if any of you are extra nice and interact with me a lot, or you enter one of my little contests, I send them to you. That's what I do with them. So yeah, I I make them, take all the fun out of it, and then send you the kit. But sometimes those kits are kind of still broken, right? Remember, I can't get certain things working, so if you're into debugging, you might take some joy out of that. So I'm actually giving you the gift of entertainment. So let's knock it on. Whoa! Oh, they're blue. They're breathing. I like it. I like it a lot. This is this is more than I could have hoped for. Look, I'm going to show you that circuit there so you really get to appreciate it. They're really quite bright, these blue LEDs. They're shining above me so gorgeously. I like this. This is an ethereal glow. So if we turn this pot all the way to one end, it's a kind of a quick breathing. Oh yeah, baby. That's a long burn that way round. You know what, guys? I like this circuit. Here's the circuit diagram in case you want to incorporate this into any of your own designs. I think I might pinch this, guys. This circuit's pretty nice. If I'm designing a bit of kit now, I'm going to have an Apple. I think Apple really has this sort of effect. Apple-style breathing power lead, power LED. Gorgeous. That's dead gorgeous. Right. Please like my video if you like it. Please feel free to click subscribe. I really appreciate that. If you've got any comments down below, want to ask me any questions, please do. I shall try my best. Remember, I'm not an analog electronics expert at all, and barely managed to be a digital one. So just have a look-see here. This is our potentiometer, by the way. This is what's adjusting that breathing effect. So if you're playing along at home, maybe you'll tell me how this works. As ever, thank you for watching.